Welcome to Mind Blow, the ultimate destination for jaw-dropping content that will surprise, inspire, and entertain you every step of the way. If you love discovering the unexpected, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share with your friends to keep the excitement going. Your support helps us keep blowing minds and creating content you'll never forget. So buckle up and get ready, because this is just the beginning. August 25, 2025. The South China Sea is tense. The BRP Sierra Madre, a rusted Philippine ship, sits stranded on Second Thomas Shoal, a symbol of sovereignty and a flashpoint. Two small Philippine Coast Guard vessels approach, carrying supplies and fresh troops. They're met by a swarm of larger, aggressive Chinese ships. Water cannons roar, blocking the Philippine vessels. But today, the Philippine crews refuse to back down. This is more than a resupply, it's a declaration. The world watches live as a new line is drawn in the sea. This moment signals a shift in the Indo-Pacific. The standoff at Second Thomas Shoal is a turning point. The Philippines is drawing a line, and the world is watching. To understand this shift, we must look back. China's rise defined the early 21st century, economic boom fueling massive military expansion. The People's Liberation Army Navy transformed into a blue water force, building carriers, destroyers, and a vast maritime militia. Beijing's 9-dash line claimed nearly the entire South China Sea, ignoring international law and overlapping neighbors' zones. China built and militarized artificial islands, projecting power deep into Southeast Asia. The Philippines faced relentless pressure, fishermen driven out, Scarborough Shoal seized, and little global response. The U.S., despite its treaty with Manila, stayed on the sidelines. China acted with impunity. The Philippine Navy was outmatched and outdated. Many believed the Philippines had no options. Confrontation was impossible. Appeasement only encouraged more aggression. China's cabbage tactics wrapped disputed areas in layers of ships, making resistance seem hopeless. The dragon's shadow grew longer each year. The world assumed China's control of the South China Sea was inevitable. But that assumption is now being challenged. The balance of power is shifting. The Philippines is no longer a passive bystander. The tide began to turn with a new Philippine leadership and a shift in national mood. Appeasement ended. A new strategy emerged. Strengthen alliances, modernize the military, and expose China's actions. The Philippines launched a transparency campaign, embedding journalists on patrols. Every Chinese provocation was broadcast worldwide, exposing gray zone aggression. The narrative shifted. China could no longer operate in the shadows. Military modernization followed. New frigates from South Korea, BrahMos missiles from India, upgraded radar and air defense. The goal wasn't to match China ship for ship, but to build a credible, asymmetric defense. The Philippines became a porcupine, small, smart, and hard to attack. Asymmetric defense made Chinese aggression costly. The world saw a nation refusing to be bullied. The Philippines was no longer helpless. It was now an active defender of its sovereignty. The transparency campaign and military upgrades signaled a new era. The Philippines' resolve inspired others. The balance of power was no longer one-sided. A new resistance had begun. Revitalizing the U.S. alliance was crucial. The Mutual Defense Treaty, once dormant, was re-energized. Washington declared its commitment ironclad. Any attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea could trigger a U.S. response. This raised the stakes for Beijing. Joint military exercises like Balikatan expanded, focusing on maritime security and coastal defense. U.S. troops gained access to key Philippine bases, giving America a strategic foothold. The alliance became a living partnership, not just a historical document. U.S. presence made the Philippines a harder target. The two militaries trained to operate seamlessly in crisis. The security umbrella was real and visible. The Philippines gained confidence to stand firm. The U.S.-Philippine alliance now actively shapes the Indo-Pacific. Together, they deter aggression and defend the rules-based order. Geography and national spirit are the Philippines' secret weapons. Over 7,000 islands create a defender's maze, impossible to control, perfect for asymmetric warfare. Small mobile forces can strike and vanish among the islands. Anti-ship missiles, drones, and hidden batteries turn the archipelago into a fortress. Any invasion would be a nightmare for attackers. History shows the Philippines' resilience against foreign invaders. National pride fuels unity. Public support for defending sovereignty is overwhelming. Fishermen, civil groups, and citizens stand behind the government. This unity gives the military strength and legitimacy. The archipelagic defense concept turns geography into a weapon. The people's will is the foundation of resistance. The Philippines' combination of terrain, strategy, and spirit is a formidable advantage. David is ready for Goliath. The Philippines is no longer alone. Its stand has inspired a coalition of partners: Japan, Australia, the US, and European powers. Japan provides patrol vessels and radar. Australia joins joint patrols and exercises. The UK, France, and Germany send ships to assert freedom of navigation. This is not a formal alliance, but a united front for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Global trade depends on these waters. The world cannot ignore China's aggression. International support strengthens Manila's position and raises the cost for Beijing. China now faces condemnation from capitals worldwide. Diplomatic pressure isolates Beijing and empowers the Philippines. The world's response is a key part of Manila's strategy. The line in the sea is now defended by many. This is a battle of worldviews, law versus force. The Philippines, backed by a 2016 tribunal ruling, fights for international law and its sovereign rights. China rejects the ruling, insisting on historical claims and might makes right. The South China Sea is a test for the global order. If China prevails, it sets a dangerous precedent for aggression worldwide. The Philippines' transparency campaign reframes the conflict, forcing the world to choose between order and chaos. Videos of Chinese aggression make it impossible to look away. Global opinion becomes a weapon in this asymmetric struggle. The stakes are high and the outcome uncertain. China remains powerful, but the Philippines has shown that resistance is possible. Courage, smart strategy, and alliances matter. The world is watching the West Philippine Sea. Filipino fishermen, Coast Guard crews, and leaders are on the front lines. Their stand will echo for generations. The future of the rules-based order is at stake. The fight for the sea is a fight for the world's future.